enhanced risk would be kind of, hey, we're looking at slam dunk severe weather here. But that enhanced risk, that's going to be the main corridor with the higher storm chance. Now, in this level 2 risk, it's possible storms could make a run that far south, and I realize this has been a very long-winded answer for how's the weather in Round Rock through tonight. You can see Georgetown points north into Florence and Gerald. I think that's going to be the better storm chance this evening in Williamson County. In that marginal risk, I think those areas are going to be just about completely dry, but, you know, in a worst case scenario, maybe a storm or two can make it that far south. But it's mainly going to be in this yellow and orange shaded zone, especially the orange shaded areas, again, in the enhanced risk for severe weather. Keon says that looks kind of gnarly. Yeah, absolutely. These are some mean storms. Again, the good news for now is that most of these, in fact, all of the stormy weather right now is still north of our area. We do have a warning for northern Mason County. We have a warning for northern Mason County, but the storm itself is not in Mason County. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they'll do here where, let me zoom in a little closer and I'll show you. So we've got kind of two areas of spin to watch here. I'm going to head back over to the wall, actually, just so I can kind of point these things out to you. Got two areas of spin that we're keeping an eye on. We have got the original area of spin, which is right about here. That prompted the current tornado warning. We've also got intensifying circulation. This is broad, but certainly some strong winds back in here. This is on the west side of McCulloch County and is west of Brady. That would be another one that could follow kind of a similar trend and maybe at play to kind of graze into northern Mason County. The existing warning, though, it's 8:07 right now, is going to go for another 20 minutes. This does not include Mason proper. It does not include the town of Mason. This is a very rural area in far northern Mason County. But it does include the 377 corridor. So just a couple of points here where, again, want to give you a heads up. We do want you taking your tornado precautions. If you live in this area, especially, this is not in our KVUE area, but if you live up near Brady, if you live in McCulloch County, if you have family that live up here, make sure they are sheltered and taking their tornado precautions. And again, this is kind of the new circulation that has developed back to the west that we will be keeping an eye on to see if maybe the National Weather Service pulls the trigger with another warning or maybe a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible type situation. In fact, let's see what they're doing with the severe thunderstorm warning. So they have not added the tornado possible tag to that yet. Again, we'll keep an eye on it as maybe that little appendage there with the gusty winds could approach the Mason County line. All right, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to go talk with our digital team real quick. I'm going to leave you on a radar loop here for a moment. And toss you back on without the stand there. I'm going to leave you on the radar loop here for a moment. Again, there's a tornado warning for far northern Mason County. The tornadic part of this storm is still not in our KVUE area. It's up in McCulloch County. If you live in that area, if you're no friends, we do want you taking your tornado precautions right now. I'm going to hop back onto the stream here in a moment, but for now, I'll leave you with no audio. Hey everybody, just a quick weather update here with you. Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams. We have a tornado warning until 9:15 that includes far northern Mason County. This does not include the town of Mason, but let me real quickly show you where the circulation is. This is the zone. There's actually kind of two areas that we're watching back here over far northern Mason County. These are drifting southeast. Again, this warning will go until 9:30. I'll get you back to the game. We will have continuing coverage right now on KVUE Plus, our website, and all of our other streaming platforms. Now back to the game. All right, hello everybody. We are back. Wanted to update you on now a second tornado warning that has been issued for northern Mason County. So here's a look at the warning right now. This is another one that includes the far northern portion of Mason County. This does not include the town of Mason. Mason proper. It does not include those locations. Let me get you the updated information on this warning. This is a tornado warning until 9:15. Again, this includes McCulloch County, San Saba County that are not in our area. The only local county that is included in this is Mason County right now. So let me hop in and show you where some of the spin is located here. Let's back out. And you know what? Again, this is another situation where this is a tornado possible. So you can see you see where Calf Creek is, and just to the east, you see that is the area that we're watching for the spin. And right now, the spin is going to be right about here. And again, this is very broad. This is radar indicated. It is not confirmed. But if you live anywhere in northern Mason County along the 377 corridor, this is overall a fairly rural area. But if you live in this zone, we do want you taking your tornado precautions right now. Again, make sure you're in an interior room. Put as many walls between the outside and yourself as possible. Now, in addition to that, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Llano County. Let me get you the updated info on that. That is going to be a hail and a wind threat, a straight line wind threat. In fact, in northern Mason County, in addition to the tornadic circulation, we do have hail potential. Here's the hail tracker, and where most of the hail is right now is right up here. Near Katemsi. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. You guys let me know if I'm saying that wrong. I believe that is Katemsi. They're in far northern Mason County. This is going to be hail that could be upwards of quarter size, maybe quarter to $half sized hail. Again, that is in northern Mason County, which is also under a tornado warning until 9:15. For Llano County, let's get you the information on that warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. And the reason these look kind of funny, we are bouncing between National Weather Service offices. Yeah, our system's not going to like that. Let me punch up the information here. Until 9:30 is the warning for Llano County. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail are possible with this storm that's approaching Llano. Let's see the movement here. They're saying southeast at about 40. So what we can do is actually do a storm track just on this general cluster of storms. And we'll draw this about like this. And again, this is going to be kind of if they hold together that long, and I don't know that they're going to make it kind of this far south. Honestly, I could probably draw that a little farther north to include parts of northern Burnett County, but here's a look at some of the approximate timings that we are keeping an eye on for you. And I've got the Facebook chat pulled up here. Again, let me know if you have any questions here. Folks are asking, what about Austin? It is unlikely right now, as we see things, that these storms impact Austin. As you can see, most of the activity is up to the north, and most of those storms are actually kind of drifting east-northeast away from us. What happened, though, is this far southern batch kind of dove down to the southeast, and these are the storms. These are the storms that are more at play for us. In fact, let me pop back into the boxes here just to pop it up here on screen with you. But this southern batch of storms has dropped down to the south into northern Mason and into northern Llano County with one tornado warning, which goes until 9:15 for far northern Mason County, but does not include Mason proper. Now, if this storm holds together, then it could bring a tornado warning into Llano County. But as of now, it is Mason County, and it is a radar indicated tornado. It is not confirmed right now. I have seen some pictures from spotters, though, out near the Brady area in McCullough, Texas, McCullough County, Texas. Beautiful supercell storm there earlier. It did not look like the tornado was down, but this is certainly a rotating storm that from time to time could kind of tighten up and drop a tornado. That's why it is tornado warned from the National Weather Service in San Angelo. As far as the rest of our area, though, again, it is a just quiet evening right now in Austin. Do want to show you the watch that has been issued. There's a tornado watch that actually does not include any part of our KVUE area, but it does include our neighbors to the north. You can see it goes down to the border of Mason, Llano, Burnett, and Williamson counties. And, you know, just to kind of illustrate the point here, let me pop you over to the Storm Prediction Center map. So here's the latest outlook from the SPC, and you can see they have actually dragged the enhanced risk, the level 3 out of 5, a little farther southward. So that includes northern Mason, northern Llano, northern Burnett County. That is going to be the zone in the orange that is favored to be grazed by these strong to severe storms. Now, farther south in the yellow, that is the slight risk, and that includes Georgetown into Burnett proper, into Llano, into Kingsland, into Mason, and far northern Gillespie County. That zone also could see 1 or 2 strong to possibly severe storms. Now, in the marginal risk, the level 1, that's where storms can't completely be ruled out, but it is looking fairly unlikely that storms make it that far south. I've been going over the latest high-res data, and here's actually a new model run so we can go through this together and see what it is showing for us. So it is doing a better job now initializing with some storms that have made it into the hill country. Let's kind of play this out. And I don't know that that's exactly how it plays out, but it does look like once we get into beyond sundown, so it's 8:45 now, we're starting to lose that daytime heating. Things are getting dark. Once we lose that, there should be a little bit more convective inhibition that kind of builds in, and that should kind of prevent some of the stronger storms and should have things fizzle down. But it was a warm day today, so there's plenty of instability here for the time being. But this probably illustrates a decent job of showing northern Mason County, northern Llano, northern Burnett, maybe into parts of northwestern Williamson County. And then by midnight, I think things are quiet and the rest of the overnight should be quiet. So it's the far northern edge of our area that we are watching, and that's where storms have been developing and continue to develop. Let's check back in with our tornado warning. Again, this is for northern Mason County, just to show you the timing one more time. Here's a full screen look at it. Tornado warning until 9:15 for northern Mason County. Velocity-wise, we're at a distance from the radar here, so we're not going to get a clean shot at it. I believe I can pick it out. Let's make sure we're looking at the right thing here. Yep. So there it is. It's not a clean couplet, but this is where it is right now. Again, this is not a confirmed tornado. This is a radar indicated tornado, meaning it is possible there's a tornado there. From time to time, the storm could tighten up and produce a brief tornado. This is the circulation right now, and it's about to cross over the 377 corridor over far northern Mason County. Again, this part of northern Mason County is a fairly rural area, but that doesn't mean we don't focus on it. We still want to make sure everybody is up to speed with what exactly is happening in this area. So let's hop back into the hail tracker and see how the hail core is doing. Yep, I'll tell you what, there's not a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm, oddly, as this hail core is diving down southward towards Mason. Now, it's going to be a close call. If it was me and Mason, I would take my hail precautions right now. It's possible this could kind of graze just on the northeast side of town, but this is going to be hail that's pretty sizable. Let's actually pause that and cue up some of the numbers here. This is going to be 1 inch or greater, so that would be about quarter size, maybe a little bit larger there, quarter size hail that is coming into kind of the north portion of Mason, riding right along the 377 corridor. That is in addition to the tornado warning that is also in effect for this storm. This is a storm that was previously tornado warned in McCulloch County when it was closer to Brady. And we're getting into a spot here where it is really hard to get a good vantage point, at least as far as the velocity is concerned. The reason for that is we are kind of splitting the difference between the radar in San Angelo and the radar in Granger, so we're kind of equidistant from both, and that means we don't have a good perspective, a good shot with the radar beam low in this storm. But nonetheless, we can kind of tell from the reflectivity, it's still got that structure to it where it's certainly a rotating storm, and we want you taking your tornado precautions right now if you are in the path of this storm. Looks like we may have just got a new scan. Let's see. Yeah, again, we're getting into, we call that range folding, where that purple shows up, so we're not getting a good vantage point of it, but this is what we're watching here. Circle it for you. This zone, you can see it's got a little hook, a little appendage that drops down. Again, I think this circulation is going to stay north of Mason, and this is radar indicated, not a confirmed tornado right now. Hopefully this thing doesn't tighten up any more than it already has, and hopefully this thing's not dropping a tornado, but you guys know how this goes when you've got a tornado warning polygon like that. You just want to take, the path of least regret, and that means we want you sheltered if you live in this area. An interior room, put as many walls between the outside and yourself as possible. But in addition to the tornado threat, there's also the threat for hail. Pretty sizable hail core between Catamacy and Mason. That is quarter size hail. And then also we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in northern Llano County. This does not include Llano proper, and I'm happy to say that hail core on approach to Llano County, you can see the northernmost hail core has been weakening, but there still could be some gusty straight line winds in there that we will be watching very carefully for you. Let's see, any comments? Wanda, no problem. I appreciate you tuning in. Again, hopefully you guys are doing fine for the vast majority of the KVUE area. It's fine right now. In fact, here's downtown Austin, our Zach Theater cam. It's just a beautiful evening. I'm trying to look closely. Is that a little bit of Mattis there? Tough to say. Some of the high-level thunderstorm clouds have probably blown off farther southeastward. A new note from the National Weather Service there, continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Llano. They're saying now 3/4 of an inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So they're picking up on that hail core that has weakened a little bit. Hey, also, here's a new note. Let me get you back to this. So I was saying it's a little curious. There's a tornado warning, but not a severe thunderstorm warning for the hail potential. They just issued, the National Weather Service in San Angelo just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes the whole eastern half of Mason County. And that re-triggered our crawl. Now, I apologize if we seem a little bit distracted today. We've got the NBA Finals right now are on KVUE, so we want to always balance giving, of course, any urgent weather information, but also making sure that folks who are trying to watch the game are able to do so. So let me make sure we got the single line crawl punched up here so it's not covering up the scoreboard. There we go. That should have things handled for us. Mario's watching in Manor. No issues right now in Manor. And again, I think the storm chance for Manor tonight is very, very low. It's mainly the northern tier of our area where we are looking at Mason County, Llano County, Burnett County, Williamson County, Milam County, the core of our risk. Here's a note from the National Weather Service, this time the NWS Austin, San Antonio. They are saying the storm entering northwest Llano is on a downtrend as the storm in Mason maintains as the dominant cell. Yep, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, how that hail core on approach to Llano County has really weakened. They're saying that it may actually be under 1/4 inch size, which is technically not severe hail, but there's also the threat for some strong winds in that storm. The far stronger cell right now is over Mason County. This is the same storm that is tornado warned, where over far northern Mason County, we do want you taking your tornado precautions. But over the rest of the county, especially the eastern half of the county, you can see there is now a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me actually pop up, let's see. Well, here's like some of the heavy rain coming down in. Here's like the new information on this severe thunderstorm warning. This is until 9:45. For eastern Mason County. There's a separate severe thunderstorm warning for a slightly weaker portion of that storm that's in Llano County. But we'll have to see how this kind of drifts. It's been kind of, I would call it chaotic storm motion here, where at times they're kind of going due east, at times they dive more southeast. So we're just going to have to kind of watch and see how this hail core unfolds. This is where the hail is, and I'll tell you, it's actually ramped up a little bit. This could be closer to $half size hail rather than 1/4 size hail. Let's see what they're saying in the text of the warning here. They're saying tennis ball size hail now in Mason County and 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is significant hail, which is over northern Mason County. And it's possible, in fact, I would say it's most likely that this stays just northeast of town in Mason, but it's going to be close. I would make sure, just to be on the safe side, that if you've got a truck or a car or anything like that that's out exposed, if you've got somewhere where you could put that quickly, I think that is a good course of action, just to kind of follow the path of least regret there. We are still continuing to watch a little bit of a hook here where the storm is trying to spin. Honestly, the spin is getting right down there on the far southern edge of this tornado warning, so we'll see, maybe they could drop that even a little bit farther south into Mason County, but here's where the spin is. In this zone, again, still north of Mason proper, but anywhere in this northern portion of Mason County, which, is thankfully pretty rural. We say that we don't want any, we care about the people that live here. We just don't want, I don't think this is a situation where too many people are in the path of this storm. Good. I don't want people out in the path of tornado-warned storms. But again, there is stuff out here. If you know anybody here, or if you yourself are in this area, make sure you're taking your tornado precautions right now. Yeah, this is just such a tough spot to get any sort of good radar feedback. It's going to be a messy velocity signature. We're kind of switching. Yeah, we're just not, I apologize to you. We're just not going to get good radar coverage here because we are equidistant between two radars, so neither of them has a vantage point low enough in the storm that we have any sort of useful velocity data. Jennifer says, any concerns for Gerald tonight? For Gerald and Florence in northern Williamson County, it is possible that there could be some stormy weather later on this evening. But as you can see, we've really got just this one cell that has made it into Mason and Llano County. If that starts to drift a little bit farther east, it's possible it could be in play for Gerald. And Gerald over northern Williamson is one of those spots where there's a slightly higher chance of seeing storms tonight. It's not a guarantee that there's storms tonight in Gerald, but it is a possibility. It's just something that we can't rule out if these storms try and swing back to the east, closer to that stalled frontal boundary. It is possible. Just got a new flood advisory for Mason County, so that means that minor flooding is possible. So we now have a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, and a flood advisory for minor flooding, all of that over Mason County. Outside of Mason County, the only other alert that we have right now is a severe thunderstorm for a weakening storm in Llano County, but we'll have to watch the hail core that right now is over Mason. As that drifts eastward, that could actually prompt additional severe thunderstorm warnings into parts of Llano County. So we will watch that closely for you. Let's see, okay, it looks like the second half of the NBA game has started back up. I'm going to drop our weather crawl real quick. Give me a moment to work on that. There we go, that should have things handled. And we do want to keep an eye on the tornado potential, of course, here over northern Williamson County. It is a situation, though, where the circulation itself has almost dropped south of the warning. So this is the National Weather Service San Angelo. We'll see if they maybe tweak this or adjust it. The warning itself goes for another 15 minutes until 9:15. This is the zone where the storm is rotating, and then where you see those whites and purples on the northern flank of that, that's going to be the hail core. Again, I've explained this a couple of times, but we are very far away from the two radars that service this spot. This just happens to be one of those locations. We call it a radar hole, where obviously we have good reflectivity value, but to look at the velocities or the winds and the storms, it's much more helpful to be closer so that you're getting a vantage point lower in the storm. We just don't have a good view as far as the velocity of the storm right now, which would tell us if we have a couplet and if we have a tornado issue. As you can see, when you get those purples and stuff there, we call that range folding. So we're just not going to be able to get a good vantage point as far as the circulation is concerned. But we do want everybody to continue their tornado precautions there over northern Mason County. And of course, we're watching it here with you. We'll let you know if they extend that warning a little farther southward, or if they allow that to drop off, or whatever they decide to do. Okay, hey, good news for Llano County. They have dropped the severe thunderstorm warning. So the storm, at least the portion of the storm that was moving into Llano County, is weakened so significantly that it's now no longer producing hail or wind that warrants a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, there is still some rain that is moving into northern Llano County right now. North of Castell, up north of the river. This is going to be especially in the northeastern zone, right along 71 from Pontotoc, and then points to the southeast. But as of now, the tornado warned part of the storm and the big hail producing part of the storm is exclusively over Mason County. Now it is drifting southeast, so we'll watch the trends. If that holds together, that could bring a hail threat into Llano County, but as of now, the hail threat and the threat for a possible tornadic circulation, again, we don't have anything confirmed. No spotters have seen this or anything, but a radar indicated area of circulation, all of that is over Mason County. And just to update you on the timing for that, the tornado warning goes until 9:15, so another 15 minutes. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until 9:45. And they're saying hail up to tennis ball size is possible. In fact, that may be even a little bit larger than tennis ball size now. So it is certainly still a significant hail core right now, which is just north of Mason. And I really hope that this stays out of town. Again, my advice, if you are in Mason, you are under the severe thunderstorm warning. I would take hail precautions just to be safe. You know, if my car was sitting out in the driveway and I had a place to get it covered, I would handle that. Just my advice, but it's possible, and I hope so, that this hail core stays just northeast of Mason. Any other questions here in the chat? Again, we're keeping an eye on things. Here's what's going on right now in Austin. No storm concerns right now, and again, I do not expect I don't expect storms to make it into Austin tonight. Do want to show you though our Oasis cam. Just caught a glimpse of this. Let's pop up router 2. Let me go next to Oasis. There we go. And what you're seeing off in the distance, that's actually the thunderstorm anvil from this activity in the hill country off in the distance there. Beautiful shot there. So that's it. That's the storm. As we look back to the northwest, you can actually zoom in a little bit. You'll be able to see this is that's the edge of the storm right there, and then you can see the thunderstorm anvil on the top left. So that is the storm, which has prompted a tornado warning for Mason County and is also producing hail that could be up to about tennis ball size right now in northern Mason County. Latest word from the National Weather Service here in Austin is just that they are canceling that Llano County warning, but this is still significant hail though that is moving. This is inching closer and closer to town in Mason. It's getting close. And this could be hail of tennis ball size. Large hail, so hail precautions in this area. Again, it looks likely that this is going to barely miss town in Mason just to the northeast, but it's close enough that I do want you to take those hail precautions. And then thinking a little farther down the line, if you know anybody that's going to be on 29 there between Mason and Llano, make sure they're aware of this and make sure they get somewhere protected. They've got a convenience store or someplace where they can get their car out of the way here with tennis ball size hail possible with this storm. That's still significant hail core, which has remained over Mason County. Hey, there's the new update. Again, looks like it's a close call. It's close, but it's going to stay just east-northeast of town in Mason. But if you live on that side of town, again, it's pretty rural out in this portion of Mason County, but there's ranchers and farmers and some housing out there. If that's where you live, make sure you are taking your hail precautions right now. In addition, to still staying sheltered with this tornado warning, let's actually hop back in here. Again, it's, to be frank with you, a little confusing as the National Weather Service there is still leaving this tornado warning up. However, the part of the storm that is still spinning is actually south of the tornado warning entirely, kind of in this area. Again, nothing about this is telling me, hey, slam dunk, there's imminently a tornado on the ground. But this is a storm that's been, broadly circulating for a while now, for almost over an hour. This was tornado warned. It actually looked much more impressive when it was up closer to Brady and McCullough County. That kind of dove down to the south where we got a second tornado warning out of it. We're not at a vantage point where we have, well, we're getting a little bit better there. Yep, still. So this is kind of the zone. So we're actually getting a little bit better of a glimpse at it from the radar. This is going to be the zone in here that we're watching. Again, this is now almost entirely south of the tornado warning, but that is the zone that we're watching. It is on the east side of Mason. So in addition to just your severe thunderstorm precautions, let's just kind of treat this like a tornado possible type situation there on the east side of Mason County. Let's see, checking in with again, Mason County is operated by a different National Weather Service office, the National Weather Service in San Angelo. No further updates from it. The last update we got was 8:55. They just said continuous tornado warning, radar indicated, also hail up to 2.5 inches. Again, this is for Mason, McCullough, and San Saba, with Mason being our only KVUE county in that warning. At 8:55, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Fredonia, moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. So it's a general southeastward movement with this storm, and I hope that what happens is what happened as the storms approached Llano County. Hopefully these things weaken down. I don't want anybody dealing with this tennis ball size hail. But next up, if this kind of holds together, again moving southeast, it's going to be tracking kind of this way, and that would move into parts of western Llano County. Would kind of probably would split the difference between Llano and Enchanted Rock, just to warn some folks who are out ahead of this. The movement, I'll draw a storm track for you. It's moving southeast at 40, which is a pretty good clip, but it's not a guarantee that the storm holds together that long enough. If it kept that same heading and held together perfectly, then it'd be just after 10 o'clock for Enchanted Rock, but it's not a guarantee that the storm holds together or stays on that track. Just not one of those situations where you got a clear shot where it's just, you know, a storm that's going to move the same direction. It's not going to change. It's just not one of those nights. It's not a squall line type deal. These storms have been occasionally diving southeast, then they'll move kind of due east. Earlier, some of them were lifting back northeast, so we'll just have to keep an eye on things for you. Hey, real quick too, while we kind of waiting some new information from the National Weather Service, here's the flood advisory. This is for northern Mason County until midnight. They issue these normally when there's been about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, meaning that minor flooding is possible. Here's what again, I think the heaviest stuff is up in McCullough and San Saba County, but some of these radar estimates here over northeastern Mason County. Are going to be, yeah, some of these are up close to an inch of rain. Again, it's heavy rain, but thankfully the storm is moving. Tornado warning is going to continue for another 7 minutes. So interesting. Yeah, still kind of a couple areas that have been trying to spin in this storm. It's not, you know, a clean look where anything is leaping off the screen and saying, you know, for sure there's a tornado down. But again, just to be safe, even though the circulation is starting to move a little bit farther south. If you live in Mason County, between Mason and Castell, right there along the 29 corridor, and let's just kind of treat this like a tornado possible situation. Again, just make sure you are indoors, which we want you to do if there's a severe thunderstorm warning anyways, and we've got big hail moving through, so a good idea just to go ahead and get out of range of windows or anything else like that. You know, obviously hail can be a big concern. We don't want anybody with broken windows or anything like that. Missy is watching in Mason County near Hedgewigs Hill. Can you put a future track on the storm? Yes, we can. Missy, are you seeing anything? What have you seen so far with this storm? So here's where Missy is watching in Hedgewigs Hill. You are under this severe thunderstorm warning, and let's kind of animate this for you. Missy, it's possible that this misses you to the east-northeast, but it's going to be close. I would, again, certainly take those hail precautions right now. If you got a car out in the driveway, let's go a storm track on this, as Missy was requesting. We'll draw things out like that. So here's kind of the zone. Again, Missy, if it holds together, again, I think it's going to be kind of grazing your area, but it's going to be about 9:18, so about 5 to 10 minutes from now. where it's going to be a close call. I hope that the worst of the hail may stay just east of you, but still let's plan on the potential for hail. This is a big hail core that could be up to tennis ball size. Yeah, so here's the hail core. Has come down a little bit in intensity. We hope that continues. But there you go. I'll leave that radar shot up for you there, Missy. Melissa wants to know what direction are these storms moving. These storms right here are moving southeast. Now, north of our area, there's a couple more storms that are moving more due east or even east-northeast, but this particular storm is drifting southeast. Let's check back in with our velocity here on our tornado warning. Again, it's going to look a little funny because we're at a distance from the radar. Interesting. There's still, again, two areas of the storm that are trying to spin a little bit. One of them is right here. Then we've also got another area kind of back here that we'll need to keep an eye on. Again, none of this is, super tight couplet that's leaping off the page and saying tornado. But as far as, what we're watching with this storm, those are the two zones. There's a severe thunderstorm warning. As far as the tornado warning is concerned, it continues for another 4 minutes. We'll see what they do with that. The areas of the storm that are still spinning are actually entirely south of that. So again, give it another couple of minutes. We'll get word from National Weather Service San Angelo as far as what they want to do for it. Yep, Missy, it's going to be close. Again, I don't know exactly where you live there relative to town, but I would go ahead and thank you, Missy. Yeah, keep us posted on what you see. Just make sure you're indoors and away from windows. And hopefully you've got the trucks and cars and everything taken care of there, as that's a big hail-producing storm. Has a history of producing hail that could be up to tennis ball size. Just keeping tabs here on our communication with the National Weather Service, not seeing any other updates from them. Again, now we're just kind of in wait-and-see mode, another 3 minutes here on our warning. We'll see what they decide to do there, what they elect to do. So let's, as we wait on that, let's go through some of the model data. Again, the models have struggled a little bit this evening. Here's what we'll do. We'll go punch up our latest high-res data. It's doing a decent job at initializing, although it's got a storm right now over Llano and Burnett that doesn't exist in that way, but it shows the potential for storms northern Mason County, Llano County, Burnett County, maybe. Again, we had some folks asking about the Gerald, Florence area, maybe even into parts of northwest Williamson County prior to midnight tonight, but I think that's going to be it. Again, I do not expect storms to make it into the Austin area tonight. And that's what the Storm Prediction Center is kind of picking up on with their SPC outlook. In the orange, that's going to be the zone that's favored for storms. But in the yellow, too, from Mason County into far northern Gillespie County, into Llano, into Burnett, into northwestern Williamson, and into northern Milam County, those areas have a chance at seeing 1 or 2 strong to severe storms through this evening. Otherwise, this marginal risk into the Austin area, again, that's kind of a very conservative marginal risk. We can't completely rule it out, but it does not look like those areas are likely to see storms through tonight. Just a situation where you can't completely rule it out. All right, 9:14, 1 more minute. Let's see what they decide to do. I'd imagine, because, again, the part of the storm that's spinning has moved out of the tornado warning, I'd imagine they're going to let this drop off. We'll see. Coming up here in just a few moments. Again, the hail threat's going to continue. And this is what our storm looks like. That's our Kalahari cam. Let's try. Yeah, so this is a distant view of this storm from our Oasis cam over northwest Travis, and we're looking back to the northwest into this big storm. You can see kind of the imprint there, the side of the thunderstorm anvil, and then the big high clouds that are being blown out to the southeast. Okay, looks like for now the tornado warning has dropped off. We will wait a moment and see if they have any intention of reissuing that. Again, if they do, then it's going to be still eastern Mason County and then maybe getting into parts of Llano County. So, I apologize, still have you on the Skycam. So here's the radar. Again, the tornado warning is dropped off. They just trimmed the severe thunderstorm warning farther eastward. Missy is still watching in the chat. Again, Missy, I know you're waiting on this storm. It's going to be very close. They actually have the warning is right there at Hedgewigs Hill and points eastward. But it's possible this thing may miss you just barely to the east, and I hope it does. I know you guys need some rain out there, but I don't want anybody getting hail like that. It is heading towards Castell, though, heading towards the Castell area right along 29. So far, no reissue of the tornado warning. I'm looking here in the National Weather Service chat. Some other media members are asking what their plans are for that. So far, no word, but as of now, they have not reissued it. What they did last time, though, is they actually canceled it and then reissued another one. So we're going to stand by here for another couple of minutes, and we'll see what happens and what they decide to do. I'm going to toss our Oasis cam in there too, just so you can see the storm off in the distance as we're in the triple box now. Let's go Oasis cam. There you go. So far so good. No reissuance of the tornado warning. So it looks like they're going to let this ride with just the severe thunderstorm warning, as this thing still certainly has hail potential in it. And based on the movement, Missy is watching in Hedgewigs Hill. Missy, I would say it looks more and more likely that this may kind of just graze just past you to the east. Again, I don't know where exactly. It might not live exactly in the center of town, but this is kind of tracking a little farther eastward towards the Castell area, right along the Highway 29 corridor. And if they issue another severe thunderstorm warning farther downstream, this is likely going to be a Llano County storm. But the earlier warning for Llano County has been allowed to expire. So it's been a couple of minutes now. It looks like they're going to let this expire, at least the tornado part of the storm. They're going to let that drop off for the time being. Still keeping an eye on some gusty winds and some broad rotation in there, but we're at a really far distance from the radar, so this is going to be really elevated up in the storm. So for now, we are looking at hail potential. Mason County drifting southeastward. If this continues its motion, then it could, and if it holds together, then it could make it into Llano County next up. They're now saying golf ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind. Storm is moving southeast now at 20. So let me do one more storm track, and then I'm going to drop off of here for the time being. We'll start getting ready for our 10 o'clock newscast. So southeast at 20, let's see the exact motion of this thing. Give some space there to draw out our line. So it's kind of doing a number about like this. That's going to take it again into the Castell area with hail potential, and then into southern Llano County between Llano and Enchanted Rock. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because the tornado warning is dropped off here for Mason County, what we'll do is I'm going to leave you on the radar loop. I'm going to end this stream. If we have another warning that's issued for Llano County, I will start a new Facebook stream right here on our KVUE page. So that will be the game plan. That will be the game plan. Yeah, so finally getting back from the National Weather Service in San Angelo, they're saying might still be some weak rotation aloft, but not much in the lower levels. Storm is still capable of some large hail, but the tornado threat has significantly diminished. Yep, I agree 100%. So we'll keep an eye on things. Again, if there's another severe thunderstorm warning for Llano County, I will start a brand new Facebook Live. radar stream and everything will continue on our Facebook page, KVUE Plus, and all of our other streaming sites. So thank you for watching with us this evening. I will see you guys on KVUE News tonight at 10 after the NBA Finals. right, hello everybody. Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with you again as we are tracking the same complex of storms which earlier was over Mason County and actually earlier produced a tornado warning over northern Mason County. Now moving into Llano County. No longer a tornado concern here, but there is a concern for hail, and it's heading right into the Castell area as we speak. So got the Facebook and everything pulled up here. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please let us know. Let's start with the hail potential. And hey, here's some good news. Earlier, this was producing quarter to even larger hail. At one point over Mason County, this was actually producing hail up to tennis ball size. Now this is a weakening hail core, but is still producing hail heading into Castell and heading into Llano County. Now, if you are watching in Llano proper or in Enchanted Rock, neither of these locations are included in this severe thunderstorm warning, but this is a storm that's moving southeast, and the main town that this is over right now is the Castell area. I see Olga's watching in Pflugerville across the metro, especially areas east of I-35. There's no stormy weather going on right now, and the main storm risk tonight is going to be the northern tier of our area. And I'm hoping what happens is that this storm weakens over Llano County, and that's about it. But I'm watching Mason, Llano, Burnett, Williamson, and Milam County for the opportunity for some stormy weather tonight. For the metro and points southeast, the chance for storms looks, I don't want to say zero, but looks very, very low through the rest of tonight. So same thing, Gloria's watching in Georgetown. This is probably the best way to sum it up. Let me show you the updated outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So here's our day one outlook. We've got the enhanced risk. I'll take this full for you. Actually, what we'll do, let's go into the tall box here. So as you can see, we do have a enhanced risk. That's the 3 out of 5 for northern Mason, northern Llano, northern Burnett. That's kind of the core of the risk, and these are the areas that have been seeing storms or are currently experiencing storms. And then in the yellow, the level 2 risk, Mason, far northern Gillespie County, Llano County, which is under the warning right now, Burnett County, and then especially Georgetown, points north and points northwest. So the kind of northern half of Williamson County. These areas have the main storm risk tonight. Austin is technically in the marginal level 1 risk. Again, I don't want to say that the chance is zero, but the chance of storms tonight in the metro is very, very low. We're mainly watching areas that are shaded in yellow and orange with the storm risk through tonight. And what we're talking about right now is a hail-producing storm that is right now over the Castell area. Let me get you the latest timing on this warning. The warning is going to go until 10:15 for Llano County. The warning for Mason County, I think, is going to drop off here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So let's hop into our auto warn. So the part of the warning that is in effect for Mason County will drop off at 9:45, so that's about 6 minutes from now. The part of the warning that is in Llano County is going to go until 10:15. The reason we have 2 separate warnings here is because there's 2 separate National Weather Service offices. The NWS San Angelo does Mason County. The rest of our area, with the exception of Milam County, is NWS Austin San Antonio. Bubba's watching from Jarrell. Andrew is watching from Rockdale. So Jarrell, Florence, and then northern Milam County. Also, we can't completely rule out a storm, but again, I'm hoping that rather than veering east and passing additional parts of our area, I'm hoping that this thing can gradually weaken. But for now, this is still a severe storm that is producing hail over parts of Mason County and now parts of Llano County, and has prompted this severe thunderstorm warning. Here's the hail core. And the hail size has come down some, but it's still hailing, I'd bet you, right now in Castell. So if we have any of you that are watching from there and you can safely send in reports, please do so. Obviously only safely after the fact. I do not want anybody walking out into their yard into a big hailstorm. Interestingly, we've been watching our Oasis cam. Let me see. It looks like it's too dark now. Earlier, we were looking across the lake to the northwest. You're actually able to see the silhouette of this beautiful thunderstorm off in the distance. Now it looks like it's too dark for that. But as far as weather right now in the Austin metro, things are completely quiet. Just this, really just a lone storm now. Earlier this evening, we had a tornado watch that was issued north of our area. Let me show you that. So the watch still does not include any part of our KVUE area, but did go down to the border of Mason, San Saba, Mason, Llano, Burnett, and Williamson counties and Milam counties. Most of the storms, though, have stayed up to the north. It's interesting. You can see the way that this wind, the movement has been pretty chaotic here. We had this complex that storms that formed. The two northern storms kind of broke off and went up northeast, although we'll need to watch this one that's north of San Saba. Looks like that one's trying to dive south again. But the southernmost storm dove down to the south into Mason and now into Llano County. That storm originally was tornado warned over McCullough County near Brady, Texas. It did prompt a tornado warning for northern Mason County. This was not a confirmed situation. It was a radar indicated tornado possible. And we don't have any reports of damage or a tornado there, which is great news. But now the concern is hail potential for these same areas. Here, let's see, getting a note from the National Weather Service, from the Storm Prediction Center. They are watching, interestingly, they're watching Mason and Llano, which are currently experiencing the storms. They're watching northern Burnett and these areas over the next couple of hours. They say here's kind of the breakdown. They say there's 3 supercells. You're looking at the 3 right now. 3 supercells persist across central Texas into north central Texas this evening. The middle supercell over Mills County has shown some recent intensification and better organization as it tracks near the surface front. And just to show you what they're talking about, there is a stalled frontal boundary. Let me see if I can pull up the, searching through my palettes here. There's a stalled frontal boundary there. I know this looks a little complicated. There's a stalled frontal boundary just to our north. So the focus for storms has been generally up along that. So that's what they're saying. They're saying recent model data has suggested that there's an increase in the low-level jet, so some faster winds in the atmosphere that's kind of intensifying some of these storms. This activity is expected to become elevated with time as the boundary layer inhibition increases with the loss of daytime heating. So now that the sun has gone down, it was obviously a warm, humid day today, but now that the sun has gone down, we're starting to lose a lot of the juice that formed these storms earlier. Some tornado risk could still accompany the middle supercell, which again is north of our area, not in our KVUE area, not a concern for us. They say that's expected to be short-lived. Given trends, ongoing watch may need to be extended or a new small severe thunderstorm watch being considered. So if they issue a different watch, it's possible that could include parts of our KVUE area, including Llano and Burnett County. That was kind of a technical analysis, but that's what the Storm Prediction Center is watching. And here locally, the bottom line is we've got one storm in our area. Temperatures, though, are still plenty warm. I mean, it's 90 degrees still now as we come up on 10 o'clock in Austin, and it's in the 80s in the hill country where these storms have formed. You can see here the instability is going to load in. Still lots of instability that these storms have been tapping into. But now that the sun is down, the ability to access that instability is going to start to come down. So hopefully we see a weakening trend with this storm, which is right now over Castell. It is still producing hail. Let's see if our hail core is trended upwards or downwards. I would say it's still about the same. Still, this could be producing hail up to quarter size coming to Llano County. So Castell. And then it's going to get into a pretty rural part of Llano County. And it's going to cross over. This is Ranch Road 2323. So it's going to, once it gets through Castell, and it's now starting to move out on the south side of town, it's going to move towards Ranch Road 2323 over Llano County. Again, Enchanted Rock is not included in this warning. Llano, you're not included in this warning. Llano proper, although you are getting clipped by some light to moderate rain right now. If this holds together, it could be in play for Enchanted Rock, but it just remains to be seen how the situation is going to continue to unfold. And by the way, right now on KVUE on ABC, we have the NBA Finals, which is why we've been pretty careful about our coverage tonight. Don't want to interfere with anybody that's watching the game, but of course it's our job to provide you with the urgent weather information. But the point being, there's still several minutes left in this game. It's possible that our 10 o'clock newscast could go on a little bit late. Looks like it's a close game too. Nuggets are up by 5 though, could close this out, and that would be That would be the championship winning win for them. In which case, there'd probably be post-game coverage would be going on even later. So let's see. Marcelo, will this storm get to northwest Dripping Springs? No, we do not expect this to be an issue for Dripping Springs, and I don't expect storms tonight over Hays County. What's going to be kind of interesting to watch, though, we've got to watch this middle supercell. This one, which is north of our area, but it's trying to hook down to the southeast a little bit, so that's heading towards Adamsville. You know, the ones in Llano, what would be interesting is if this kind of continues swinging down southeast, and maybe it could be in play for parts of northeastern Burnett and then far northern Williamson County. So that's what we'll be watching. With that middle supercells, it's kind of hooked down to the southeast again. And then we have the ongoing supercell, which is the farthest one south, that is over Llano County. That is moving southeast. It is producing hail up to quarter size, as well as the potential for some gusty winds and some locally heavy rain. This storm, just to check in on it, just so we're kind of keeping tabs, just in case this thing comes down our way. So here's the warning there. I want to pop in the text and see what they're tracking. They're saying golf ball size hail with this one and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So here's the hail core with that one. Yep, that's a little bit larger again. Our supercell in Llano County is producing quarters. This is golf ball size hail, which is north of here, north of San Saba. And I think it is most likely. Here's the new update from the National Weather Service on our Llano County storm. They're continuing the warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, radar indicated, and 1.25-inch hail. So that could be maybe a little bit larger than quarter-size hail, quarter-size hail now, between quarters and half-dollar size hail. But this storm, again, is probably going to weaken as it approaches us, but we're still going to need to keep an eye on it as that approaches northeastern Burnett County and perhaps parts of northwestern Williamson County. We'll just have to wait and see if it weakens in time. Again, if it holds together, it could be in play for those spots. Let's see what the latest model data is showing. Obviously, the models have not been perfectly handling the situation recently. Let's hop into our high-res data. Let's go with this. Again, you can see it's not initialized right. It's got a storm currently where there's not a storm, but it's showing, again, you can just kind of take this with a grain of salt, but you know, what's the idea showing, what's possible. It is showing that storms could be in play between 10 o'clock and midnight for northern Burnett County, maybe northern Williamson County. Beyond midnight, though, I think any of these three ongoing storms that have formed will weaken, and I don't expect additional severe weather through the overnight. And again, just to show you this one more time, here's the storm outlook. It is the zones in the yellow and the orange are where we could see a couple of storms. I really don't think storms are going to make it far enough south to get into Austin or Hays County. So that's the situation. I want to double check and make sure, see how much time is left in this NBA game so I know when we're going on. 3.5 minutes left. Again, just a quick programming note. If you guys watch this, you're probably not caring that much about the NBA. But if the Nuggets win, if Denver wins, ABC will probably continue with their post-game coverage, showing the celebration and everything for a while. So it's very possible that we go on a little bit late. In fact, it's just about a guarantee. It's 9:50 now. There's still several minutes left in that game. Okay, looking around on Twitter too, seeing if we've got any reports coming in and see if we got any further updates from the National Weather Service. So far, so good. Okay, the last update, so they updated the hail size here. I believe they actually increased the hail size. So the hail core is now south of Castell. Hop back into the outer box. The hail core is now south of Castell. It is heading towards Ranch Road 2323 over southwestern Llano County, but is getting into a fairly rural part of the county. If this holds together, though, it could be in play for Enchanted Rock further down the line. Hail size, yeah, it's ticked up a little bit where this could be maybe slightly larger than quarter size hail. So that is likely why they tweaked the warning there. So they're saying 60-mile-per-hour winds and now hail up to half-dollar size. So I think what we're going to do here, and they actually trimmed the warning, so they took Mason County out of the warning now, so it's now exclusively Llano County, and this warning goes for another 25 minutes. This will come to an end at 10:15. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to get ready for our 10 o'clock newscast. Llano County, there's a hail-producing storm south of Castell drifting in the general direction of Enchanted Rock, although Enchanted Rock is not currently in the warning. Hail-producing storm, $quarter to $half size hail, and there's a continued risk with this storm and then also one more storm up to the north over the next 2 to 3 hours. By midnight and beyond, I think the rest of our overnight's going to be quiet. So we'll see you guys on KVUE News at 10 o'clock after the NBA Finals.